Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cole. It's Sunday afternoon, September 25th. We're now entering week 6 of Humanities 2333 Philosophy of Life for the fall 2022 term. Okay, everybody, we have a couple of things coming up. Beginning tomorrow, Monday the 26th through Wednesday, we have our discussion. This is our third discussion, I believe. We're calling it a discussion on existentialism and authenticity. Now, you mentioned in your class notes was the work of Gordon Marino, who I drew upon to prepare those class notes. In his book, he described an experience that he had with a famous individual. So read about that and see what you think. We're asking you to discuss how important it is to be an authentic individual. Everyone, I'm sure, would prefer to be authentic rather than the opposite. But just how important is it? Is this something that would preoccupy you a great deal? How important is it? See what you think. Perhaps I've thought about that a bit already, since that material in the class notes was on the syllabus for last week. So that discussion will take place tomorrow, Monday through Wednesday. Now, on the syllabus for this week, we are beginning with ethics. We have 2 sets of class notes for lectures 11 and 12. Lecture 11 is about ethics in general. Lecture 12 about consequentialism. Taking those one by one. Lecture 11 is largely about cynicism. Okay? This gets back to authenticity, I suppose. Cynicism would be the idea that with regard to ethics and morality, most everybody is a big fake. Everybody really is out for themselves. Okay? The problem is it becomes difficult to take ethics seriously if that is your worldview and you see the whole world operating on a basis that warrants cynicism. Okay, so cynicism poses a challenge to considering ethics seriously. Perhaps we really can't if everybody is out for themselves. Okay, so see what you think of that. Then the class notes for lecture 12 deal with consequentialism. Okay. Now, you might think it was just common sense that we ought to judge actions by their consequences. Okay. Mature, grown-up people are supposed to be able to take consequences into account. But not everybody agrees, as you will see, that that is the ultimate standard for ethics. Okay? Some do, some do not. In those class notes, we mentioned that there are perhaps 2 versions of consequentialism. One is utilitarianism, and that goes back perhaps to the 19th century with the English thinkers Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. Now, scholars will tell you there aren't many people who are serious utilitarians anymore. The idea would be that we would measure the utility of every action and do whatever it is that produces the most utility, as though that could be quantified or counted or measured. Okay? Nevertheless, Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill were very influential. So see what you think of utilitarianism. Now, the alternative would be what is called, technically speaking in philosophy, perfectionism, or also virtue theory. Okay? This goes back to the ethics of Aristotle. Now, the thing about it is, in many versions of ethics, what you do with your life is strictly up to you. It's just that perhaps there are certain constraints you observe as you go through your life to set out to pursue whatever goals you have set out for yourself. It doesn't really matter, perhaps, as long as you play by the rules. But according to virtue theory, some ways of life are better than others, and those are the ones we should encourage. We should encourage certain virtues, which may be associated with certain ways of living and not others. Now, this perfectionism or virtue theory is something that fell out of favor for a long time with English-speaking analytic philosophers, but recently has made a comeback. Okay, so see what you think of that. 2 versions of consequentialism. After we look at cynicism as a challenge to ethics. All right, so discussion on existentialism, and then we begin ethics on the syllabus this week with cynicism and consequentialism. A couple other things you notice, not this week, but next week, your second written assignment is due on Thursday the 6th, not this week, but next week. Similar in length to the previous written assignment, you are asked to consider whether anything you've been exposed to this term has changed your most deeply held views on anything whatsoever, or maybe your views have not changed. Okay, one way or the other, it's fine. Let me say, though, about this paper, everybody, students tend to make this assignment autobiographical, which is fine, but there needs to be some philosophy in it also. Don't write something that's strictly an autobiographical essay, although you may wish to work that in. Try to make the paper as philosophical as you can. That's coming up next week. Okay? If there's anyone who didn't submit the first assignment, it is important that you submit the second one, because you get to drop one 100-point grade only. So if you've missed the first assignment and do not plan to make it up, it is important that you complete the second one. Otherwise, everybody, I'd like to mention, I try to travel to OPSU every year for homecoming. I do plan to be there this year. I should be on campus part of the day, at least for the ball game on the 1st, Saturday the 1st, and I expect I'll be there part of the day, Friday the 30th as well. So perhaps I will be bumping into some of you. Okay. If you don't know what I look like, ask around, because there are people who will recognize me, because I was a full-time faculty member until a couple of years ago. So perhaps I'll be bumping into a couple of you this weekend. Otherwise, discussion on existentialism tomorrow, Monday through Wednesday. Ethics on the syllabus for this week, cynicism and consequentialism. Begin thinking about what you're going to write for a writing assignment that's to be turned in next week on Thursday the 6th. Otherwise, study hard, take it easy, and we'll speak to you again a week from now at this time.